All right. So once more, welcome everyone to our community event here at Mfoome Cloud. And today's session is, as we've just had the rules for today, today's session is going to be about AI for everyone, right? So let's go ahead and get started. So the key thing here is AI for everyone, from mystery to mastery, so that we hope before we leave today, you are in a position where you can say at least you got something, right? So that's the key thing. But before we go ahead, a little bit about me. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Banjika, or with the traditional title Mfoome Bat Europe. Proud of my culture, as we all know, people from so always say they're proud of who we are. So ending this after the work I've done inside the SOC community here in Europe, and also leading and pioneering the SOC First initiative, trying to support their unstable situation due to the unrest that we have now in most of the regions in the Northwest province, specifically Cameroon. But currently, career-wise, I'm a freelance instructor with Go Courses, founder and lead instructor here at Mfoome Cloud. AWS authorized instructor, just had my 1-year badge, 1 year since I got that. 9 times AWS certified. The goal is to complete 12 and of course get the golden jacket. 5 years as AWS community builder, with strong interest also on machine learning now and AI. Before, experience-wise, I've worked as a cloud architect at Kindred, Germany, before stepping down last October to focus more on Mfoome Cloud. Assigned client engineer with IBM here in Germany. Worked as incident management engineer, with main focus on Linux at Verizon here in Germany. For those maybe in the US, they know Verizon mostly for mobile communications, but in Germany, they actually did offer some IT services. 2 times All Builders Grant, first time as attendee, that's in the Las Vegas, the biggest cloud computing event that comes almost at the end of the year. Attended once as attendee and the second time as an advisor, alumni advisor. So with all of that out of the way now, let's go along to talk about AI, right? And I'll start with, imagine a situation with this analogy of, imagine the wisest elder in your village, who is someone that has heard every story, have learned from every mistake, and then give you advice on almost anything, right? So now, if you imagine such an elder who is capable to speak to thousands of people at the same time, never get tired, remembers every conversation perfectly, right? So that is what AI is actually becoming in the modern world. So the wise elder of a village, that's the analogy you can think of AI. And in this, our digital village, AI will act as a knowledgeable elder, guiding us through data patterns. Let's talk about that shortly, recognizing trends and learning from vast information. So AI kind of empowers us to make informed decisions and predictions of the future. So with everything that this wise elder has learned throughout the years, he can be able to say what will exactly happen at any given point, right? So AI isn't magic, it's just pattern recognition at massive scale. Because if you can think of an elder that has known everything, so it's really pattern recognition and massive scale. And today we want to move from this sorcery that we are thinking of. Some people think AI is sort of sorcery, but we want to focus on how can we use it, right? So the key thing here is, before getting into details, there are some key terminologies I would just want us to address. When I talk of AI during this session, I'll mostly be referring to what is called generative AI, because AI itself is a broad field that encompasses the development of computer systems that can perform tasks that require human intelligence. So when you think of AI, it's actually a very broad field. But the key thing is computer systems capable of performing tasks that will require human intelligence. And under AI, there is a subfield called machine learning. And this was, machine learning has been around for a very long time, and it was more of, improves um, its capability of making predictions through learning by examples. So if you could show a machine learning system, say 1,000 cats, then they will be able to learn all the features that are associated to a cat. And the next time you show it a picture of, say, a cow, you will be able to predict with 99% that that is not a cat, right? So machine learning is more of learning improves by learning from examples. Then you have deep learning, which is teaching a computer to learn the way a baby learns as well. And deep learning comes from designing computer system with looking the way the brain works, right? So that's how deep learning has been designed. Computer systems that kind of mimic the way the brain works. Then generative AI, which is what has really come on board, and we've had so much to talk about, are systems that are capable of generating new data on the patterns and structures learned from already trained data. So when you're thinking of generative AI, it is able to generate new content. That is really, really powerful, because if you think of all the previous AI systems, they just rely on old data. But generative AI is able to look at all the data that exists, and then based on that can generate new content, right? So those are some key terminologies to just get away before we move on. I'm going to talk about AI from making analogies, because at We from Cloud, we always try to demystify concepts, right? So here I'm going to talk about AI from a market vendor analogy. Think of your local market vendor. So someone who maybe has been selling for 20 years, and this person know which customers like which products. For example, for 20 years, they can be able to predict if any customer come to the market, which products they like, what sells best in a season, dry season or rainy season, how to negotiate based on the time of the day, which suppliers are most reliable. So if you think of a vendor with 20 years experience, and then imagine that you are having a vendor with the experience of 10,000 market vendors, right? So if you think of AI, here is like a vendor that has got the experience of 10,000, maybe 100,000 vendors, who has millions of transactions and can instantly recall any pattern. You have to think that computer systems don't forget. The drawback with us humans, and the difference between humans and computer systems, is while we forget, computer systems will not forget, right? So if you can have an AI system that has the knowledge of about 10,000, 100,000 vendors, and have seen millions of transactions, and capable to make predictions of what will happen in the next day, that is very, very powerful, right? So think of AI as this tool, as this kind of vendor. And then if you are looking into what will exist, pattern recognition. So when we're talking about AI, and as I mentioned, generative AI, we're talking about data at scale. So AI is trained on huge data set at the scale of internet data. So like I mentioned the vendor earlier on, the vendor has seen so many different types of transactions have no, so it relies on data that exists. So when you're thinking of AI systems, they have been trained with so much data, and this data, you can imagine the whole internet, for example. That's so much data. And if you can have an AI system that has read all the information on the internet and is capable to generate information by looking at the different patterns, you can imagine how effective that can be. Or look at it from the point of, imagine a child who started going to school and has never forgotten anything since class 1 primary school, has read all the books in all the different libraries they have been to, can recall instantly what's in all those books. That's where we are driving to, right? So pattern recognition. So when you have AI being able to work with so much data, they also look at pattern recognition in the different data sets that they have. Enhanced decision making. So AI will analyze patterns in data to improve choices, increase efficiency. So automation will always reduce time on anything that is repetitive, right? And can also personalize recommendations based on a user's preference. So if, for example, you are coming from, I don't know, Lagos, if you are coming from Mancon, if you are coming from any village and you want to have some data that will be able to suit your own preferences, AI will be capable of doing it. For example, if you look at the Zoom background I'm using, that was generated by AI, and I just asked that it should generate a Zoom background considering the cultural elements of the Saw people, right? So you then look at it, you see it's capable to do that. We're talking about generating again new data. What makes generative AI so powerful? Okay. The other point is we're going to look at some AI assistants because we want to make this easy or come home. We don't want to spend the session for today talking about so much technical information. We want to focus on how can you use AI, and depending on interest, we can move in future sessions and talk about really how AI works. But when you are thinking of AI, consider AI as your assistant. The other way is you always think of AI as a very good friend who is so intelligent, trained with internet data, and capable of answering any question that you can ask, right? So that is, look at AI as this kind, as that friend, and they come in different variations. And one thing about asking questions to AI, which we'll also cover, is you always have one shot to ask a question. And the more clear your question is, the better answer you will get. So we have AI assistants here. There are 4 specialists. Think of them like 4 different friends that you know, and they have been trained, and both of them and all of them have different capabilities. Many people here, give me a thumbs up if you know about ChatGPT. I think that's what almost when I was having the conversation, everyone thinks ChatGPT, AI is ChatGPT, right? So which was quite interesting. Many people think ChatGPT is AI is ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is one of those friends. Your conversational guide that will offer answers, insights like the village storyteller. Claude AI, on the other hand, which we'll see is more of data analysis that will help make informed decision through pattern recognition and also generate a lot of content, as we'll see, right? Perplexity is a curious explorer that turns complex questions into understandable knowledge for everyone. And it's very good when you are doing research. And Gemini connects your stuff to Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Maps, and can also generate very great images and short videos. I think 8 seconds at the moment. Maybe as I'm speaking, that has changed, who knows? But the last time I checked was 8 seconds, right? So let's think of these 4 assistants, or think of them as 4 friends that we all have, and we're going to see how we can use them today. So here I'm making the analogy of ChatGPT being a village craftsman. So if you are thinking of a village setting, there is one particular man who can make furniture, fix tools, help answer questions, and he will also share knowledge to you if you go and ask the right questions. Or you think of Claude AI, a very thoughtful teacher in the village who will explain things to you step by steps, as well as clarify any questions that you have. Perplexity, on the other hand, is the research assistant. You know, he likes to travel, the village messenger. He will travel to gather information, gather the latest news, knows every scientific development, and will be willing to help you with any research you have. Again, we are making the analogy of all these AI tools that we know to be people that you can relate to, and not like some kind of mystery. And in the back of your mind, know that each of these friends that we're mentioning, they have been trained. They have, for think of when we're talking about training, they have read almost every book that you can think exists and are specialized in all these different areas. Are we all together? Just give thumbs up. Let me know that we're there. Or say so. Yeah, thank you all. I can see some thumbs up coming up. So, right. So that is the different friends we have. So if you are thinking of Andrew Ng, one of the people behind that have worked a lot in machine learning and generative AI, this quote, AI is the new electricity, transforming industries and enhancing our daily lives, making it essential for everyone to understand and embrace almost everything that comes along. How Now the question is, how do I talk to this wise elder, or how do I talk to AI? We have talked about the different AI assistants. We have talked about the different friends that we have, and they have all been trained and have all this knowledge that we want to have, right? The question is, in what way should you talk to them to be able to get the potential that they have? So how can you talk to AI so that AI help you unlock AI potential? That's the topic we are touching now, which is the art of good prompting, right? So basically, it's very essential. We now know the friends we have. We want to figure out how to talk to these our friends. So what is prompting? When you go to a restaurant, for example, you walk into your favorite local restaurant, the waiter comes to your table and asks, "What will you like today?" This simple question is exactly what prompting is. It's how you communicate with AI. So when we're talking about prompting, how do you communicate with AI? And following this analogy, we are looking at your order, which is your prompt. That is what you tell AI. The waiter is the AI system. The meal that you are going to receive is the AI's response. And the kitchen is the AI's brain processing your request. So prompting is just what you tell AI. And the waiter is standing like the AI system, right? So if you are thinking of the friends that we have covered, you may think of ChatGPT, Claude AI. They are your friends standing on the AI system. Then the response they will give you back is equivalent to the mail that you receive. So if you think about it in this way, the better you explain what you want, the better mail you are going to get. So you better be careful the way you ask AI what you want. If you want a better response, you need to ensure that you've also asked the right question. So prompting matters because if you go, for example, to buy tomatoes, you don't just say, "Give me tomatoes," right? You want to be specific. You may say, "I need 2 kilos of fresh red tomatoes, not too soft, not too hard, for making stew tonight. What's your best price?" When you're able to ask such a question, the more specific you are, the better the deal you get. It's the same with AI. The clearer your prompt, the better the response, right? Here's an example of a bad prompt. If you want to ask one of our assistants, it could be ChatGPT, Claude AI, or Perplexity. If you want to ask the question and you just say, "Help me," let's say you need help, help me with business, and you just say, "Help me with business," like saying, "Take me somewhere nice." I think I didn't mix that. Just ignore that. Let's say, help me with, so for example, I'm sure I wanted to talk about a business presentation. If you just say, "Help me with a business presentation," or it's very vague. It's like saying, "Take me somewhere nice," right? So if you just go and say, "Help me with a business presentation," it is vague. It's like saying, "Take me somewhere nice." It's not very specific. If you say, "Write a report," it doesn't have any context. It is also same as saying, like, "Go to the market," and you don't say what you actually want to buy. Or you become too demanding by saying, "Give me 50 marketing ideas now." It is like asking the tool to bring you everything from every shop, right? That's not very effective. So these are some examples of bad prompts or the bad ways to talk to an AI system. You shouldn't be vague. You should try to, as much as possible, to have context, and you also shouldn't be too demanding. Here's a good example, right? You need a business help. Instead of saying, help me with business, you should say, I run a small catering business, say in Lagos. I need 5 creative ways to attract more customers for weekend events, focusing on traditional Nigerian dishes. My budget is limited, so I prefer low-cost marketing ideas. When you're able to write a prompt like that, you realize that you get a much more better answer, right? The other one is writing assistance. If you just say write a report, that doesn't make much sense. But if you say write a 2-page report for my manager explaining why our team needs 2 new computers, include cost, benefits, productivity improvements, and a timeline, make it professional but easy to understand. So such a prompt is much more clear, and you have your AI system being able to help you there. The other one is learning support, especially for students, people trying to learn new concepts. If you just say, teach me programming, that doesn't really help much. But if you say, I'm a complete beginner who wants to learn Python programming to help with data entry at work, can you create a 4-week learning plan with 30 minutes of daily practice? Start with the absolute basics, right? That's also a very, very clear prompt, and it helps into giving you good answers. So we're going to look into practicing some of these and see how they will look like. But before we go there, just keep in mind that a good prompt always needs, let's say you have context, what is your situation, length, how long should the response be, if you want to specify that, examples, you may show an example of what you want to achieve, right? Who is this for? Now, it's always different if you are trying to, maybe you are trying to have a business plan. A business plan, the one you show to stakeholders will be completely different from the one that you want to keep maybe personally for reference, right? So you need to also specify your audience. You need a business plan. So, who is your audience here? Are you trying to get funding? The one you present to funders is different as well. Are there any specific needs, requirements, right? So if you have all of that, that will be of great help. So we're going to have some demo time now and look at some of these different concepts, how prompting change on the different AI assistants that we have. And if you look into that, you may be able to see how useful that can be. And then we'll have questions. But for those people who are completely new, you may, if you want to know about Mfoome Cloud, Steffi and Tatiana will share you some links about Mfoome Cloud. We are on YouTube, we are on LinkedIn, and also on Facebook. But if you're on Facebook, if you just search for Mfoome Cloud, you should see that. And what we try to do at Mfoome Cloud is we always say we demystify cloud computing as well as AI and ML so that it's accessible to all. We take people from zero to hero, so covering from fundamentals of Linux, networking, and Python, right? And certifications, job readiness, as well as employment, right? I didn't miss a Y there. So if you are completely new to the community, yeah, that is what we do here at Mfoome Cloud. Now, we have some courses coming up. So this is the career path that will be from cloud. As you indicated, we always start with the fundamentals, but you can also start with the solutions, with the architecting course. We have a session starting on the 22nd of September. There's a link to register for it if you are new and you're thinking of doing the cloud computing course. There's a link to join as well that will be shared. And once people always ask what happens after the certifications, which is the consulting step where we try to help you build more hands-on, work on projects, and get ready for the market, job market, right? So enough of Mfoome Cloud. Let's try to do some demos. We'll look at these 4 assistants, and there's one that is a bonus that I'm keeping at the last for those who stay at the end to see it, right? So you have ChatGPT, everyone knows that. Give thumbs up if you know about Claude AI. Anyone here knows about Claude AI? How many people have used Claude AI? Stephanie. Okay. Perplexity. Anyone? Okay. I don't see anyone use that. Gemini. Okay, I see a few thumbs up. And yeah, there's also a Discord channel for those who want to join. King has used that, Leah has used that. So it seems there are quite a good number of people who see some of these today. So let's try to work on some demos now. So let's do some demo time. Let me get my, everyone surely knows ChatGPT. So, but yeah, nothing wrong looking at it. We start from ChatGPT, what you know. Just give me a thumbs up again if you're seeing my screen. Just checking to confirm. Yeah, thank you, Leah. I'm sure it's the same for everyone. So we're going to look at ChatGPT. We'll look at Claude AI. We're going to look at Perplexity, and then Gemini as well. And then there's one that I said I'm leaving for the last. But I would like us to start with Gemini because there's nothing as good as telling a story. So let's try to see how we can get a story, a very nice story to talk about. Um, and here the situation can be, imagine you have, you're in need of a story, right? So maybe you have a young brother or you have a niece who cannot go to bed and you are trying to figure out how to get him or her to bed, right? Could be your nephew, your niece. So let's try to use Gemini. And to use Gemini, of course, you need a Google account, as you notice. Once you are on the home page, you come here to the square menu here, I will call it. Then Gemini is here, or you can also go to gemini.google.com, but you need a Google account. If you are signing, you get this interface. There's a pro version, the one for developers or business, but it's always good to try the free versions and see what's happening. So I'm going to click chat with Gemini, and I'm just going to say use Gemini here, right? I want to pick Gemini Flash, right? I hope that's the one that is available. And the situation I have here is I'm in need of a story. A bad prompt, for example, let's say if I decide, an example of a bad prompt that I can use is just coming and saying, my 7-year-old niece doesn't want to sleep over at their grandma's house. Create a storybook to help them to cope. You can try this later, but what's happening here is maybe you want this story to be more of, let's say, if you are from So and you want this story to reflect people from So, the story will be different, right? So we are thinking of context here. We want to give more context to it. So this is an example that I will say is a bad prompt because I want context. A good prompt, how will it look like? So if I decide to say, uh, if I decide to change the prompt to be, my 7-year-old niece, Berry from So, was out watching and going after masquerades during the So Cultural Festival held at So Palace, Kumbo. She's now scared and doesn't want to sleep over at their grandma's house. Create a storybook to help them cope, think step by step, and consider the culture and norms of the people of So. We should remember that our AI assistants have been trained with large data, so they know, so definitely. So we can try and see. So if I put this and I click on submit, as we see, it's creating a storybook. We're going to see how this will look like. So the problem that we have here is um, just want to show that you can be able to generate a storybook. So if you can imagine in the evening, you just have You want a story and you don't know what kind of story to tell to a young kid. And they want something that maybe have illustrations. So you do this. This takes about maybe a minute or two to finally generate. But as we are waiting for it, are there any questions? Put questions in chat if you have any so far before our book comes up. If you have a question, I could answer that as I continue. I don't see any question, but I see that our book is ready. All right, so let's look into this. So Barry and the Whispering Guardians by we from Cloud Labs, because I'm using the Gmail here. So I've just had a book here, and we have a nice story now that we can go ahead and talk about. So here's a story, Barry and the Whispering Guardians. Barry loved and saw cultural festival. We gave it context. It has generated images that could be somehow, if you look at it, it's an African setting with Barry having colors. This is popular in so, right? This having it. So Gemini is able to know and put those elements there. So Barry loved and saw cultural festival, the vibrant colors, the joyful music, and the delicious aroma of a chew fill the air. Now, if you read this, so people, of course, like, but fufu, you could adjust that. But then the masquerades appeared tall and mysterious, their raffia rustling as they danced. Barry, who had never seen them so close, felt a shiver of fear, right? So you could proceed and read this story. That night back at her grandma James' cozy home, she couldn't sleep, thinking about the masquerades, right? So it has nice illustrations here. I'll share this story book for those who want to enjoy it. But that's an example of the story you can get. Right? Grandma spoke to Barry, talked about the jujus, explain where they came from, their spirits of wisdom and strength. But at the end of the day, what you have here, you have got a story. You can also take this. Remember, we are using I did start with Gemini because it can have this illustrative book. But also, if you go to ChatGPT and also ask for the same situation, I've not signed in. Now, it also goes step by step, understanding the cultural context, and we'll try to create a story. But it's telling us a lot of things here. But page 1, introduction, page 2, right? So you can also have a story coming up here. It has given a structure, but you can go and ask it to write the full story for you, right? The same thing, you can go out to Claude AI, and for me to be able to use Claude, it requires you to sign in. I'll just pick a random account here. Claude AI is also very good in generating content. I don't know if any questions are coming up. Yeah, a question on Gemini. Just write your question on chat. We'll take that. So once we finish that at the end. So I've just, okay, 2001 1980, for example. I want to use Claude for free. So you can use Claude for free. You want to do that so that everyone on the phone can see the process of. Someone is asking if we will see DeepSeek. Let's come back to that, but good to know you know about DeepSeek. I want to use this for writing, learning, and yeah, let's just go here, right? So help me writing, that's all I need for. So that's how to set up Claude. It's very easy. You just need, again, an email address, or sign in using any tool here. So I'm going to ask Claude AI to go as well and tell me a story. So you may realize that you have different stories and you can then pick the one that you want to adapt. When you put Claude AI, as you notice, it will try to look for cultural Cameroon masquerade festival traditions. So Juju's masquerades, meaning And then it has gone online, it's been able to gather all of that. It's presenting the story here in HTML format, but we'll wait for that to complete and then we'll see how to use that, right? So we have been able to see that we can get a very nice, I like Gemini will always give you a much better, if you are thinking of illustrations and where to look at that, that's easy. So let me copy this link. I didn't share, copy and then share that on chat for those who want to read that story. And then also if you want to use prompt later, that's fine. All right. Right, so let's go ahead and look at the next situation here. I'm going to talk about presentation. Many of you are involved in different work scenarios, and I think most of the challenging thing you face every day is how do you, when you have a presentation to write, right? That's always one of the challenges that many people face. So if you have a situation where you need to write a presentation, let's say we did talk about help me with your presentation as a bad prompt, but let's say I need help creating a 10 slides presentation for our quarterly sales meeting. Let me copy that and put here while we wait for the other one to finish. So here I'm talking about being clear with what you want. If you say, help me with a presentation, that doesn't help. But if I say, I need help creating a 10-slide presentation for our quarterly sales meeting, the presentation should cover our Q2 sales performance, top selling products, and sales targets for Q3. Please provide an outline with key points for each slide, right? But before I do that, I just want to check if our story, if our, I think I did, because I did click, okay. I should have been patient for our story to finish, but no worries. We see it can be generated. So I did click and then that went away. But now we're moving on, generating this. So if I go ahead and type that, it's going to create a comprehensive outline for the quarterly sales presentation, title of the slide, and you're going to have like a guideline or think of it like a skeleton of what you want to do. And then you can take this, copy this, and if you have PowerPoint, you can then go ahead and you at least have an idea, a skeleton of how you can arrange your presentation, right? So again, it's an assistant that is guiding you on how you can be able to work with this. So as we see here, it starts with the title of the slide, the agenda overview here, sales performance summary, key performance metrics. You definitely have all of that. And you have now kind of a skeleton and you just need to input the data. Or if you have the data as well, you can then also add that to Claude AI and ask Claude AI to do that for you. The same thing if you come to, let's say we have not used Perplexity here. I'm just trying to post that everywhere. All of them will help. So it's going to also do some thinking, and below it has some sort of structure. So you can always use the different AI tools and then look at which one works best for you. Maybe you combine them, remove some elements where not that you don't need, in such a way that fits your own situation, right? So this prompt specified, the prompt we use is good because it did have specific details about the task and actually the number of slides that you wanted. Now, the other thing is writing emails, something that is common, and we always do often. Now, just saying I want to write an email or write a professional email is an example of a bad prompt. But let's say, for example, you want to write an email and you already have an example of a previous email that you wrote. So this is what we are looking at. I'm going to paste that example here. So I'm saying here, I need to write a professional email to a client about a project delay. Here's a similar email I've sent before, right? So here you are telling your AI assistant what you've done before. So giving it example, it is going to help your friend here to be able to know how you write your tone and everything. And in generating a new email, will keep all those elements in mind. So so you share the email that you have used before, and then you say, help me draft a new email following a similar tone and structure, but for our current situation where we are delayed by a month due to supply chain issues. And if you send that, here Claude AI we're using as our email assistant, it's going to generate that, and you look at it, subject, project update, revised timetable, dear client, here is a structure and explain. So this can cut, if you can imagine, if I had to sit down to write this email from scratch, I'm sure it would not take less than 30 minutes. I don't know how many of you have gotten emailing that you can pass your message in a way that is very convincing. But with an AI tool, it can generate that for you. We have not used up to a minute. You can revise that and you can edit it according to your taste. If you don't like that, you can also try that on ChatGPT. ChatGPT will be able to as well. You see, ChatGPT has project update delay due to supply chain issues. Claude AI had project update revised timeline, right? All of them are still pointing out to the same outcome. And you have an email here. You can compare them and you can then also figure out how to adjust. Now, the other one is, which most people have challenges with, is you have documents and maybe you need to read this document, make a summary of the document, or pick some particular key points from that document. I want us to try here and attach a very huge document. So if you look at ChatGPT, I was discussing to someone and they were surprised that you can actually attach a document on ChatGPT. But if you notice, if I click on attach, it will not attach because I've not logged in. So, and I also don't have the history being saved. So if I want to be able to attach a document, I can log in. And login is also very easy. You just need to use your Google account. Maybe I'm going to use again with on Cloud Labs as my account here. And then I'm logged in, and before you realize, okay, it's asking for names. I'll still say with from Cloud Labs or continue. Okay, let's say 2001 1980, right? So if we have all that information, and then as it logs in, you realize now that the document, I can be able to attach a document, right? That is now activated. You can pick also different options, study and learn, create an image, think local, deep research. So there's a lot that keeps changing in the AI landscape, and all the different tools keep having different capabilities. And a plus sign here can help you. You just need to test if you change one of these. But here I'm interested to add a document. And there's a document I have. I noticed someone was proposing one, but don't mind. I want to use one I have here. So 2023 TR executive summary. I'll talk about what's in that document. So it's going to load that PDF file. It's a very huge PDF file. And then I'm going to, if you notice, I'm waiting for it to load. I've not yet sent that. Once I see the button here is showing that it's now loaded, I can now ask what I want it to do with this document. So I've attached I think this 78-page market research report called Tech Industry Trends for 2023. Can you provide a 2-paragraph summary focusing on AI and machine learning trends? Then please answer these questions. So you want it to make a summary of a 78-page document using 2 paragraphs, and then answer some questions. And while answering that question, it should cite specific sections or page numbers where those answers are coming from. Is that not? And then if you go ahead, it's going to read the document for you. It's reading the document. It's going to create a 2-page summary, right? And then it's going to answer your questions and point exactly in which pages those answers are coming from. Thumbs up if anyone did learn something new. Just checking. Did anyone learn something? Okay, Stephanie did. What about the others? I can see Mildred did. All right, as well as King, right? So that is how, if you are very specific, you can be able to get more information here. So that's the first way to read a 78-page document, if that was something challenging. Yeah. I don't know if there's any specific, I don't see any specific question so far. So that is what you can have. You can still add that same document. If you look at Claude AI, there's also the possibility to upload a file. For those who are in programming, or you can add from GitHub, for those who are in tech, you can also send take a screenshot. Thank you. I see someone saying that's different. Brilliant, learning so much. Thanks a million. Happy to know that. You can also add a screenshot if you want, and maybe you want to get information from that screenshot. Right. Actually, I've used this a couple of times, because you get a document and you have a picture, you just want the text in that picture. Rather than typing it, if you upload it on Claude AI, it will just extract the text for you, and you can just copy the text immediately. You should try that. Yeah, and we'll be practicing a lot for those who join our Discord community and have questions. We'll share more examples that way. So that is what you can do here, using taking a PDF file, uploading and getting so much that you need. But let's go ahead and also solve a serious problem. Let's say you want to start an agricultural business and you don't know where to begin. Or let me not say agriculture. Let's say you are based in Bamenda, or I don't know if there's someone here from Nigeria, but let's say you are based in Lagos and you want to start a poultry business, right? And you don't know, you don't have an idea where to begin. Now, this is easy. If I say Lagos, if you want to do this in Bamenda, in Bafoussam, in Yaoundé, it's going to be the same. If you want to do this in Germany, the question will be the same, right? But let's say we want to do this in Lagos, just changing the name. So I want to start a small poultry business in Lagos. I don't have much experience with poultry and don't know where to begin. Think step by step as an experienced poultry farmer. That's very, very important, because our AI assistants have been trained with almost every knowledge, and each time you tell it to think like an experienced poultry farmer, then the response you get will be from the direction of it helps, gives a much better response. So if you also ask it to think like an experienced programmer, it will also do the same, right? So that's very important each time you are sending your prompt to any AI assistant. So here I'm asking it to think like an experienced poultry farmer on what it takes to succeed in a poultry business in Lagos, Nigeria. Present your information with content, structure focusing on the house for the poultry, feed, how to provide water, and other critical content I should consider. Because here, this is something you will have moved and try to look for a consultant to help you provide all this information. So I've just run that here on Claude AI, and out of a sudden, it's not even up to 10 seconds. We're already having a complete guide, planning and preparation, legal requirements, talking about the different departments in Nigeria that if you are starting a poultry business, you should go to. Location selection, site preparation, house design, ventilation systems, feed management. This is your largest operating cost. So if you didn't know, that's already clear. Where is Claude AI getting this information? Remember, it's been trained with internet data. So it's able to go online, any data that has to do with Nigeria, and especially Lagos, it knows some of this information. And it will give you some sort of how you can start. And at times, production records, distribution channels, you have a whole guide here to start with. Do we want more examples? Thumbs up if you want one last example. There's one I want to give, but I don't know if you people are seeing this as something to consider. All right, on chat, I see Brother Ken wants one. Anyone else? Stephanie wants one. Now, I did try to save this for the last, just to see how many of you will find this useful, because this is something that many people struggle with. So imagine that you want to start an NGO. I'll say in Bamenda, right? Let's say you want to start an NGO, and you are ready to, kind of, let me go ahead and just adjust this. I want to make the focus to be Bamenda on my own. So let's say you want to start an NGO. You have the funding, you are capable, but you don't even know where to start. So you are starting an NGO, and your NGO wants to empower young boys and girls to grow and be responsible adults in society. You want a website for this NGO, but you don't, websites is also, most of the time, your success always is mostly depends on what you are able to provide, right? Your content itself. So you want to create a website for your NGO, but generating content is a problem. Let's remember that our AI assistants are very capable to generate content. That's the greatest thing about this. So let's imagine you want to start an NGO here. So what I'm going to do is I'm starting an NGO that will empower young boys and girls to grow as responsible adults in society. I'm going to give it context. I'm going to say teenagers, that these teenagers, they live in Bamenda. And I want to create content for the website with sample mission statement, vision statement about us, what we do, who we are, our services, and other content that can be relevant to the relevant for the website, right? So I just want it to generate some content for me without me spending time doing all of it. I'm going to use Claude AI as well. And while Claude AI is going ahead preparing that content for me, I'm also going to ask ChatGPT the same question. And let's see what we'll get, all right? We see already ChatGPT also already gives a name, Rising Future, the name Rising Futures Foundation, empowering Baminda's youth for a brighter tomorrow. It has given me a sample mission statement to empower teenagers in Baminda with the knowledge, skills, and values they need to become responsible, confident, and engaged adults who positively shape their communities. There's a vision statement about us, who we are, what we do, our services, our values. Get involved, call to action, contact us, additional pages. This would have been something very demanding and time-consuming to have, to be able to get, if you wanted to sit down and do this on your own. But again, not up to 10 seconds, we've had so much content. Let's look at what we had for Claude AI. Youth Empowerment NGO website. Mission statement: to empower young boys and girls in Bamenda through comprehensive life skills education, mentorship, and community engagement programs that foster personal growth, social responsibility, and leadership development, enabling them to become confident, productive, and ethical contributors to society. If you compare, and that's why it's always good to try different AI tools, Claude AI is very good in generating content. ChatGPT will do, but I think it's for all of you to decide. If you look at the mission statement here, look at the one here, look at the vision statement, look at the content, right? Success stories, it has so much. So it's all left to you. I'm not saying that one is bad and one is good. It just depends on what you are looking for. If this is what you are looking for, fine, you can adjust. If this is what you are looking for, you want something brief, that's also absolutely fine. But the last AI assistant I wanted to show you is Lovable. And the next thing when people struggle with, when you have information like this and you need a website, it's time consuming. Let's just imagine that I wanted to see how this will look like on a website. Maybe before I even go to a web designer or any web developer. There's a website, there's another AI assistant called lovable.dev. Lovable is one of, it's also a very powerful tool and can create apps and websites just by basically chatting. So I'm going to copy all of that information I created. Now I'm showing how you can use different assistants. One will generate you content and one here, Lovable is going to build a website. So I'm going to come here and I'll say, use the content provided below to generate a mock website. I'm just going to make it easy and paste the content and ask it to generate a mock website for us. So that will run. That has started running. And let's see what we'll get. And let's see how long that will get. And you compare how much time you need if you were to go to a web developer to do that for us. So it has been thinking for 12 seconds. It's spinning up a preview. So while that is going on, that's almost like the last demo I had. Most of you have been waiting here for 1 hour. I hope you are finding this quite helpful. I'm trying to look at chat. I see there are some questions that have been answered. If you have any other questions, just feel free to share that. But for those of you who are new, again, I think maybe Tatiana or Steffi just share some links especially for people who may want to join our Discord channel. And also the survey link. Share the survey link for those who may want to make. We're coming closer. Very soon we'll be rounding up soon. But for those who want to give feedback to what we have done today, and if you are interested in another session, you can just indicate. Or maybe if you have teenagers or friends, then maybe you will be interested on a one-on-one session or consultation. Yeah, you can also indicate that on our survey. Yeah, so that link will be coming up for you people to complete. All right, so we're waiting for our website to spin, a mock website based on the data we got from Claude AI. I see a question. All right, thank you. That has been answered. Right. Most of them always have that. So thank you for that. So that has been covered. So a quick review while we're waiting of what we have done. AI is not some mystery. Think of AI as computer systems that have been trained with data at scale. And when we talk about data at scale, is think of all the data that is available on the internet, or think of a friend of yours who, since you people started class 1, He has never forgotten anything that was taught. I mean, we as humans, the drawback is we always forget. That's why we have to read today, read tomorrow. But just imagine that since primary school, every book you have read, you can remember exactly what was in that book. Every library you have been to, you have read all the books in that library for the past, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years. And now you are capable of answering questions almost at the same time to 100,000 people at the same time. I'm writing here to Claude AI, but millions of people are at the same time writing to Claude AI to generate content to solve a problem. So an AI assistant doesn't answer just to you alone. And if you really want to know how serious AI is growing and why it should be something you should really be considering, you can check on, let me see this data, usage, and statistics. It's a nice graph. I hope I can have it. Is it this one? That shows just for ChatGPT, right? The growth that has happened for the past period. Can I get a, okay, I want to maximize that. Now, if you look at this graph, in 2023, January of 2023, you had 50 million people that visited ChatGPT. That's 2023. The lucky people who started using it. In August 2023, that is around 8 months after you had 100 million people, right? This data, if you look carefully here, that's weekly, right? As of 20 ChatGPT, these are weekly users. The number of people that are visiting in January, weekly, 50 million people were on ChatGPT. In August, we were having 100 million people every week on ChatGPT. We're not talking about a whole month. By the time we were in August 2024, that's 1 year, 200 million people were visiting ChatGPT every week. In October of 2024, 250 million, and by December 2024, it was already 300 million. So from January to December 2024, a whole 150 million every week we are visiting ChatGPT. By the time, just in 3 months, the number leapt from 300 million to 400 million. If you look here, it took 1 year from 23 to 2024 to have 100 million visiting every week. But if you look at February 2025 to April 2025, it has doubled from 400 to 800 million per week. This is April 2025. We don't know if we're having 1 billion people visiting ChatGPT a week. We are still in 2025. So something is happening out there and people are using this for productivity. And some of the tasks, this can also affect how you are studying because there are skills that you may be learning that by the time you finish them in a week or two, not in a week, let me say in a year, ChatGPT is already doing them and better. So there is really no escape to live in the world of today without being aware of what's happening in the world of ChatGPT, right? So this is something for everyone to reflect on. We were for our website, and our website is ready, a mock website here. And if you look, it has generated pictures that look like these are Africans, right? Empowering tomorrow's leaders today. We empower young boys and girls in Bamenda through comprehensive life skills, education, mentorship, and community engagement programs that foster personal growth and leadership development. Our programs, our mission. You see, it has an about us, founded with a deep commitment to youth development in Bamenda. So it has a mock website here for us, core programs. Now, for people doing web development, and for you also paying a web designer, you have to be aware of this because if you are not aware, you can go to someone and they rip you off when they have just taken maybe a minute or two to produce something. So that's where awareness come into play. But also someone being a web developer, you also have to realize that some of the work you are doing, you can easily do that, say, on a tool like this. This can be published already. So I'm going to publish this. Let's see what we'll get. It's publishing, and I'll share that with everyone, and you can just look that as a mock, something to have. So, but someone doing web design can come and look at this design, and then you can be able to just have an idea of how you can work with it. We have just done one iteration, right? You could change this if you don't like it. I'm sharing this link on chat, and if you can see that, just let me know. Just click that on your computer. And if you are comfortable and you want to customize this, you can just upgrade. If you are very okay with this, you don't need to do much. You can just upgrade to the paid version of Lovable. It will not cost you that much compared to if you are paying a web designer. So it already has programs. If you don't like this, you can edit it. Our impact, get involved if you want people to donate. It has a contact section, right? So this already gives you a lot of idea. Office hours, support mission. This is far better than what many people will do, right? So that was the last tool I had. I wanted to talk about, and there's a lot that you can still do with AI tools. So before we go, and that was the demo, the focus on the different assistants that we have. But one thing you can take is AI opens doors we didn't even know existed, because AI is able to recognize patterns and generate information that as human beings you are not able to even think of. And that's where it gets a bit, the creativity. Some people say the creativity of AI has definitely surpassed in some instances that of a human being, because with all the data it has and being able to generate complete new data, it is able to see patterns that we did not see and can come up with information that we never thought of. You can think of people who are like painters, right? Now AI can, if you look at the illustration, the book we did earlier on Gemini, if you were a painter or you do illustrations, you should be very worried, because now out of a sudden images are coming. These are work that used to be done by different people. Now, you cannot talk about AI without talking about challenges and responsible use. One thing is you have to think first, AI second. That's the guidance you can have. Think first, AI second. Use the 70-30% rule, where 70% you start with doing thinking, do more of the work using your brain. So start projects with your own ideas and research. Use AI to kind of enhance and refine, not to replace your thinking. Right? So the 70-30 rule here is 70% of the work should engage your brain. It's very important. And then 30% should leverage AI for efficiency and enhancement. The other thing is always verify, especially if the information is critical. Not everything that AI gives you is going to be fact, right? So practice fact checking of every AI generated information if you want to make very important decisions. There are global initiatives from UNESCO and maybe EU, so that we have some kind of ethical AI frameworks, because young people whose brains are still developing, if they over rely on AI, it's very dangerous, right? So far, only 35% of companies currently have AI governance frameworks, which is still far, far below what should be happening. So we need to make sure that we don't get in a situation where we lose our thinking. There's a link that will also be shared by Tatiana or Steffi, which talks about the work that I think it's the University of Michigan did on comparing people who use ChatGPT often and those who don't. What happens to their brain? It's some interesting material to look at it. So just to keep yourself aware and also so that you should be responsible the way you use this, right? It's a PDF file. I encourage you to look into it. I see the link has been shared on chat. All right. So with that, I want to say definitely get in touch if you want to move on with the cloud computing or AI journey. Most of you who are here are in the WeFund Cloud community, but that is our email address. For those of you who are new, social media, the link has been shared, also available on WhatsApp. You can copy that and reach out to us. So the list now open for general questions. If there are still more questions, all right, I think if you need the WhatsApp number, that can be shared. But any other questions? So we are on questions and answers. Feel free to come now off mute. We took almost an hour on this, but if you have any questions, please feel free to come up. Comments also. Comments are welcome.
I have a question.
Yes, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, like you said, we can generate something like a good email using the AI assistance. My question here is, I think in most cases that is being verified, like in when you want to do something like a presentation, getting information about presentation, and you don't want that to be you don't want it to be discovered that you use with AI to be detected that you use with AI. Is there something that you can do to wipe that out?
You mean like if you generate an email, right?
An email or a presentation.
All right. Okay. Yes, that's where human touch come into play. What you can do is if you read an email like the one we generated, one thing with AI generated content is that if you look at it often, you start realizing that there's always a particular format or some particular words that always come into play. So let's go back and look at this email. So you can try and read this and then try to adjust the sentences so that it sounds, the whole point is it has given you some kind of skeleton to start with, right? So you can read some sentences and you adjust them a bit. What happens is so that it sounds like, because the way you write, it's always different. I mean, there are even some tools now that if you tell AI that you are this person and this is how you always write, you are sympathetic, you are considerate, you are never harsh in your emails, and your English is intermediary. If you go and tell AI that this is who you are and you want AI to draft an email that will consider all those options, AI is going to draft considering that. And then if you take that email and then you change it a bit, you realize that it's much more human in human more form, especially email. Another funny thing that happens is if you take this email and you go and ask ChatGPT, for example, is this AI generated? Let's see, right? You can ask ChatGPT if this is AI generated. Okay. Now, it's difficult for it to do that, but it could be for this email, it couldn't. I thought it could have that. I'm thinking now of you did ask about, let's look at, was it the summary? I don't know if I did use summary here. That was in we can come here, the summary I had here, right? Okay, I could come here and I take this summary and also try and see. I know I've done this a couple of times and then gone to meet that. If I come here and see, is this AI generated? Let's try and see how that looks like. If it's going to, right, you see, it says, yes, this content appears to be AI generated. Here are the likely indicators. It goes and talks about it. So that's how at times AI can be able to recognize AI generated content. But one thing that I know I've done some time ago is I will take the content like I was saying, and I just try to be myself. It has already gone ahead by giving me a skeleton like this. I would have taken maybe, I don't know, 45 minutes to come up with a meal, 45 minutes, let's just say so. And then, but if I take this and I modify it a bit, add some more sentences, change it again, and you ask it if it's AI generated, I've done that, and you realize that it would say it's about 80%, 90% human form. But the other point is, even if you write something completely new, and if you ask AI, if it's AI generated, there are some phrases that at point it will feel like it's AI generated, that is AI generated, depending on how you write. So I can only encourage that if you don't want something to be like AI generated, try to always modify it a bit. That's what, I don't know if someone else have another experience or something to share in that direction, but that's what I would do. I don't know if that did help you. I think who did ask that question? Sorry.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it does. So what I usually do is that when I give my idea, I give my prompt. Then when I get it back, I don't do copy and paste since I've already written my own, because at times I want to check on grammatical errors and things like that. That's why I used to go to AI to check on grammatical errors.
Okay.
Then now I do a complete typing of my own.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've never take it back to AI to check it. Okay, if that looks like AI generated something. Maybe
Uh-huh.
I'll try the next time.
Yes. Try that. It's so interesting. Or just write complete new text and ask if it's AI generated and see what you will say. Yeah. But good to know for sharing. Thanks for sharing your thoughts there. Any other question?
If not waiting is coming up, maybe I should ask another question. Um, I saw you said Gemini could actually generate videos as well. So my question was if everything in Gemini is actually free or paid, like in ChatGPT, some are free, but in ChatGPT, I guess videos are not free.
In Gemini, part of it, most of it always have the paid version. If you look, it has an upgrade here. So you start off with get Gemini Pro and more with the Google AI plan. Um, the first month that's 21.99 per month, but the first month you are paying nothing, right? So none of them are ChatGPT, none of them, all of them have free plans. And then if you want more, you can then pay, right? So let me see if I can show you something. We did not, on ChatGPT, let me see if I can show you, yeah, upgrade plan. You see, for the free plan on ChatGPT, this is what you can access. But for the business plan, which is 29 euros per month, this is, you can do more. And for the free versions with ChatGPT, you always realize that after some time, you run out of what is called tokens. And then if you have generated a lot of content, it will tell you to wait till about after 4 or 5 hours. Anyone experience that? Yeah, for free versions. Most of them I always start using free versions. But if you have now the paid version, you can do more. Yeah. So all of them, even we did use Lovable here. Let's look at what it looks like if you want. You see the Pro is 25 per month, Business is 50 per month, Enterprise flexible billing, and it has different versions. And there's a student discount of 50%, right? So So Lovable is the other tool that you can look into. Thanks for your question, Diana. Any other person with a question?
Thank you too.
Or comment? All right. We already have past 1 hour, 30 minutes, 35 minutes. We started at 15 past. I know it's been a big sacrifice for those of you making here in the evening to just come and spend time and hear what AI for everyone is all about. I really appreciate you all for coming. Complete our survey. I hope you all got the link. And if you are new here, join our Discord channel. And if you're interested in one of our courses, just ask for the link if you didn't have that yet. And be part of a changing world that is changing very fast at a rate that is difficult for anyone to even stay up to date. As we are talking, a lot has happened. I noticed someone was asking about DeepSeek. Yeah, that's one of the tools as well, coming from China. It's worth, I encourage that you try that as well. And if you're on the Discord channel, let's share ideas about what these tools are. And if you discover something new you want to share, yeah, we'll appreciate to have that. But just think of this presentation as you've planted a seed of understanding, right? If you are completely new here. So this is a seed of understanding, and like any good farmer, now you know what you need, right? If you have this seed, what you need to do is water it regularly, practice using these tools daily, tend them carefully, and learn from each interaction. Because with AI again, a lot changed with the tools, and there could be things that are already that have changed that you were not completely aware of. I had this slide. I don't know if I did have time to show about it. So you may find yourself in a situation where you sitting, you are like, you never told me that, you never told me you knew that. So your AI tool, as it's learning more information, it keeps getting better and better. And all it's waiting for you is to ask that particular question. So if you ask a question today on your AI assistant, or think of it as your best friend, and you don't get that answer you are looking for, try again tomorrow. Maybe that tool has already learned new information and is able to do that. You cannot get up and say that AI cannot do that if it was what you tried yesterday, because as the tools are learning every day, they are getting better and better, right? So keep learning, and of course, keep sharing the information as well. And looking forward to see you in our next community sessions. Thank you very much. And thank you, Tatiana and Steffi, for the support on chat. And thank you for sharing the links. For those commenting, glad you did find this useful, Delphine. Looking forward to seeing you all, and bye for now. Take care, everyone. Bye.